On Oblivion by Morian Zenas. It is improper, though common, to refer to the denizens of the dimension of Oblivion as demons. This practice most probably dates to the Elysian doctrines of the prophet Maruk, which rather amusingly forbade traffic with diamonds, and then neglected to explain what demons are. It is most probable that demon is a misspelling of Daedra, the old elvish word for the strange, powerful creatures of uncertain motivation who come from the dimension of Oblivion. In later tractates by Hale the Pious of Skyrim, almost 1,000 years after the publication of the original doctrines, the evil of his political enemies is compared to the wickedness of the demons of Oblivion, their depravity equaling that of Sanguine itself. They are cruel as Boethia, calculating as Molag Bal, and mad as Sheogorath. Hale the Pious thus long-windedly introduced 4 of the Daedra lords to the written record. The written record is not, after all, the best way to research Oblivion, and the Daedra that inhabit it. Those who, in the words of the Elysian doctrine, traffic with demons seldom wish it to be the matter of public record. Nevertheless, scattered throughout the literature of the First Era are diaries, journals, notices for witch burnings, and guides for Daedra slayers which contain only a few contradictions. These I have used as my primary source material. They are at least as trustworthy as the Daedra lords I have actually summoned and spoken with at length. Oblivion is a place composed of many lands, thus the many names of which Oblivion is synonymous: Cold Harbor, Quagmire, Moonshadow, and others. It may be supposed that each land of Oblivion is ruled by one prince. The princes whose name appears over and over, though this is not a sure test of their authenticity to be sure, are the aforementioned Sanguine, Boethia, Molag Bal, Sheogorath, and Azura, Mephala, Clavicus Vile, Vernima, Malakath, Hermias or Hermaeus or Hermias, there's no consistent spelling, Mora, Nimira, Jiglalg, Nocturnal, Mehrunes Dagon, and Periite. From my experience, Daedra are a very mixed lot. It is almost impossible to categorize them as a whole, except for their immense power and their penchant for extremism. Mehrunes Dagon, Molag Bal, Periite, Boethia, and Vernima are among the most consistently demonic of the Daedra, in the sense that their spheres seem to be destructive in nature. The other Daedra can, of course, be very dangerous, but seldom purely for the sake of destruction, as these 5 can. Nor are those 5 aforementioned Daedra identical in their destruction. Mehrunes Dagon seems to prefer natural disasters, earthquakes, and volcanoes to vent his spleen. Molag Bal prefers employing actual Daedralings, and Boethia inspires the arms of mortal warriors. Periite's fear seems to be pestilence, and Vernima's torture. Summoning Daedra is not a difficult proposition. It is usually an expensive one. Most mages' guilds have a summoning room, but this is most often reserved for the highest echelon of guild members. Witch covens, which are much less class-sensitive than the Necromancers, the Dark Brotherhood, and many secretive kings and queens of Tamriel, have private summoning rooms. Daedra princes usually demand some sort of service of those who summon them, though I'm not fortunate enough to have a good relation with some and not need perform. In preparation for the second chapter of this series, I will be investigating 2 matters that have intrigued me since I began my career as Daedra researcher. The first is one particularly Daedra prince referred to in multiple articles of Inkanbala as Hircine. Hircine has been the huntsman of the princes and the father of man-beasts, but I have yet to find anyone who could summon him. The other and more doubtful goal I have for the next chapter is to find a practical means for mortal man to pass through to Oblivion. It has always been my philosophy that we only need fear that which we do not understand, and with that thought in mind, I pursue my goal. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was On Oblivion. Origin of the Mages Guild by the Archmage Salarth. The idea of a collection of mages, sorcerers, and assorted mystics pooling their resources and talents for the purpose of research and public charity was a revolutionary concept in the early years of the Second Era. The closest organization to what we know today as the Mages Guild was the Psijic Order of the Isle of Artaeum. Magic was something to be learned by individuals, or at most in intimate covens. Mages were, if not actual hermits, usually quite solitary. The Psijic Order served the rulers of the Somerset Isle as counselors and chose its members by a complex ritualized method not understood by the common people. Its purposes and goals were likewise unpublished, and its detractors attributed the worst evil as a source of its power. The religion of the Old Order could be described as ancestor worship, an increasingly unfashionable philosophy in the Second Era. When Vanus Galerian, a Psijic of Artaeum and a student of the famed Iatrices, began collecting mages from around Somerset Isle, he attracted the animosity of all. He was operating out of Firsthold, and there was a common and not yet entirely unsensible attitude that magical experiments should be conducted only in unpopulated areas. Even more shocking, Galerian proposed to make magical items, potions, and even spells available to any member of the general public who could pay. No longer was magic to be limited either to the aristocracy or the intelligentsia. Galerion was brought before Iachaces and the king of Firsthold, Rillis XII, and made to state the intentions of the guild he was forming. The fact that Galerion's speech to Rillis and Iachaces was not recorded for posterity is a tragedy, though it does allow the opportunity for historians to amuse one another with lies and persuasions Galerion might have used to found the ubiquitous organization. The charter was approved. Almost immediately after the guild was formed, the question of security had to be answered. The Isle of Artaeum did not have a force of arms to shield it from invaders interested in stealing its treasures. When the Psijic Order does not wish someone to land on the island and all of it become insubstantial. The new Mage Guild had to hire guards. Galerion soon discovered what nobles have known for thousands of years. Money alone does not buy loyalty. The Knightly Order of the Lamp was formed the following year. Like a tree from an acorn, the Mages Guild grew branches all over Somerset Isle and to the mainland of Tamriel. There are many records of superstitions or sensibly fearful rulers forbidding the guild and their kingdoms, but their heirs or their heirs' heirs recognized the wisdom of allowing the guild to practice. The Mages Guild was a powerful force in Tamriel, a dangerous foe if a somewhat disinterested ally. There have been only a few rare incidents of the Mages Guild actually becoming involved in local political struggles. On these occasions, the guild's participation has been the ultimate decider in the conflict. By tradition begun by Vanus Galerion, the Mages, as a singular institution, is presided over by a council of 6 archmagisters. Each guild located is run by a guild magister, assisted by a council of 2, Master of Inkunbala and the Master at Arms. The Master of Inkunbala presides over the council of an additional 2 mages, the Master of Academia and the Master of Scry. The Master at Arms also has a council of 2, the Master of Initiates and the Plantius, the leader of the Order of the Lamp. One need not be a member of the Mages Guild to know this carefully constructed order is often nothing more than an illusion. As Vanus Galerion himself said bitterly, leaving Tamriel to travel to other lands, the guild has become nothing more than an intricate morass of political infighting. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the origin of the Mages Guild. An overview of gods and worship in Tamriel by Brother Hetchfield. Speculation concerning the worship of gods and their benefit from such. Editor's note: Brother Hetchfield is an associate scribe at the Imperial University Office of Introductory Studies. Gods are commonly viewed by the evidence of their interest in worldly matters. A central belief in the active participation of deities in mundane matters can be challenged by the evidence of apathy on the part of the gods during times of plague or famine. From intervention in legendary quests to manifestations in common daily life, no pattern for the gods of Tamriel activities is readily apparent. The concerns of gods in many ways may seem more unrelated or at best unconcerned with the daily trials of the mortal realm. The exceptions do exist, however. Many historical records and legends point to the direct intervention of one of the more gods at the time of great need. Many heroic tales recount blessings of the divinity bestowed upon the heroic figures who worked or quested for the good of a deity or the deity's temple. Some of the more powerful artifacts in the known world were originally bestowed upon their owners through such reward. It has also been reported that priests of high ranking in the temples may on occasion call upon their deity for blessings or help in a time of need. The exact nature of such contact and the blessing bestowed is given to much speculation, as the temples hold such associations secret and holy. This direct contact gives weight to the belief that the gods are aware of the mortal realm. In many circumstances, however, these same gods will do nothing in the face of suffering and death, seemingly to feel no need to interfere. It is thus possible to conclude that we, as mortals, may not be capable of understanding more than a small fraction of the reasoning and logic behind such beings' use. One defining characteristic of all gods and goddesses is their interest in worship and deeds. Deeds, as the form of holy quests, are just one of the many things that bring the attention of a deity. Deeds in everyday life, by conforming to the statutes and obligations of individual temples, are commonly supposed to please a deity. Performances of ceremony in a temple may also bring a deity attention. Ceremonies vary according to the individual deity. The results are not always apparent, but sacrifice and offerings are usually required to have any hope of gaining a deity's attention. While direct intervention in daily temple life has been recorded, the exact nature of the presence of a god in daily mundane life is up to great speculation. A traditional saying of the Wood Elves goes, "One man's miracles is another man's accident." While some gods are believed to take an active part of daily life, others well known for their lack of interest in temporal affairs. It has been theorized that the gods do in fact gain strength from such things as worship through praise, sacrifice, and deed. It may even be theorized that the number of worshippers a given deity has may reflect on his overall position among the other gods. This, my own conjecture, garnered from the apparent ability of the larger temples to attain blessings and assistance from their god with greater ease than the small religious institutions. There are reports of the existence of spirits in our world that have been the same capacity to use the actions and deeds of mortals to strengthen themselves as do the gods. The understanding of the exact nature of such creatures would allow us to understand with more clarity the connection between a deity and the deity's worshippers. The implication of the existence of such spirits leads to the speculation that these spirits may even be capable of raising themselves to the level of a god or goddess. Matusol of the Imperial Seminary has suggested that these spirits may be the remains of the gods and goddesses who through time lost all or most of their following, reverting to their earliest, most basic form. Practitioners of the old ways say that there are no gods, just greater and lesser spirits. Perhaps it is possible for all three theories to be true. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was an overview of gods and worship in Tamriel, and that is also the end of today's bonus episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.